Mr. President, this weekend I watched, probably like you, a number of folks go on television and confidently predict that we were going to be out of the shutdown. Some said as early as Wednesday. One confidently predicted Thursday. A couple more said Friday. So when I came back on Monday, I was pretty sanguine about things. It gives me no joy to say this, but I was wrong. I don't know, as bad as this multiple vehicle pileup looks from the outside, you ought to see it from the inside. I know you know what I'm talking about, Mr. President. The Republicans have voted 14 times to come out of the shutdown. My Democratic friends have voted 14 times to stay shut down. And I think it's going to be like that for a while. I used to have a beagle, Mr. President. I loved him to death. His name was Roger. He was a rascal. Roger would run off. He was a rabbit dog that we picked up as a stray. Roger would run off for 3 days, scare me to death. I was afraid he was going to die. And after 3 days, he'd come staggering back home, and he always had roadkill in his mouth. And he would hide that roadkill under my back porch. And where we are now, in negotiating out of this shutdown, looks like something Roger used to hide under my back porch. We're supposed to have a vote tomorrow. We don't know what we're voting on, but we've been promised we're going to have a vote. And I hope we do, and I hope I'm wrong, and I hope we come out of this shutdown very soon. But I'm not going to lie to the American people. I think we're going to be in it for a while. Now, as everyone knows, folks aren't being paid while we're in a shutdown. Our air traffic controllers are not being paid. In fact, starting tomorrow, the airlines are going to be canceling flights. Our staffs are not being paid. Federal employees are not being paid. These young men and women here, our pages, are not being paid. Our military is only being partially paid. I'm confused about SNAP payments. Some say the payments are being made. Some say they aren't. I don't know who's telling the truth, but I do know this. I don't think anybody wants to see anybody hungry in America. The only people that I can ascertain who are being paid are members of Congress. Now, I'm not being paid. I said I wasn't going to take a salary during the shutdown. And some of my colleagues are, and I'm not judging anybody. The purpose of this is not to judge anybody. I'm just saying that it's time that Congress set an example. I've got 2 bills I'm going to offer up today. The first one is called the No Shutdown Paychecks to Politicians Act. This just says that while we're in a shutdown, members of Congress don't get paid, and they don't get back pay. The second bill is entitled Withhold Member Pay During Shutdowns Act. That bill says while we're in a shutdown, members of Congress don't get paid, but they will get paid. They'll get their money in arrears after we open government back up. Now, I'm rather fond of the Constitution, as most people are. I'm well aware of the 27th Amendment, which says no law varying the compensation of the services of the senators and representatives shall take effect until an election of representatives shall have intervened. What that means, of course, is that you can't change the pay for a congressman until after you've had an election.
A dramatic showdown unfolds on the Senate floor as lawmakers clash over one critical question during the government shutdown: who should get paid? One side demands Congress stop collecting paychecks while federal workers suffer. The other pushes back, arguing every worker should be paid, no exceptions. With tensions rising, accusations flying, and multiple bills failing, this heated exchange reveals the deep divide in Washington and why the shutdown isn't ending anytime soon. Watch the full breakdown of this intense political moment and decide for yourself who's right.
I have offered a bill to say that Congress does not get paid like everyone else is not being paid during the shutdown. There's been a little bit back and forth. As I understand it, Senator Paul has objected to that bill. Is that correct?
The senator from Kentucky objected to your unanimous consent request.
To my bill to keep, say Congress isn't paid during the shutdown. Is that correct?
To the bill you ask unanimous consent to pass, he objected
Okay.
to the unanimous consent.
I want to bring up my second bill. It's called the Withhold Member Pay During Shutdowns Act. Remember, my first bill that Senator Paul objected to would have said members of Congress don't get paid, just like our staffs don't get paid, just like air traffic controllers don't get paid, just like the military doesn't get paid. We don't get paid until the shutdown is lifted, and we don't get our money in arrears. In other words, we don't recoup our money once the shutdown is lifted. Perhaps Senator Paul will find my second bill to be more palatable to him and his pocketbook. The Withhold Member Pay During Shutdowns Act would say, while we're in a shutdown and everyone else is not being paid, Congress would not be paid. But members of Congress, including Senator Paul, including me, including all members of Congress, would have the right to get the money back to be paid after they're out of the shutdown. In other words, the money would be escrowed, and they would get it once we came out of the shutdown. Again, there is precedent for that. I talked about what Senator Obama did back in 2013. And for that reason, Mr. President, I'm going to ask unanimous consent on that one. I ask unanimous consent that the Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs be discharged from further consideration of S 3057. Is that the right bill number? Okay. Is that the right bill number, Madam Clerk? You don't know? Okay.
Yes.
S 3057 and the Senate proceed to its immediate consideration. I further ask that the bill be considered read a third time and passed, and that the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table.
Is there an objection?
Mr. President,
Chair recognizes the senator from Kentucky.
reserving the right to object, I think the answer is to pay more people, not less people, to try to get through shutdowns without having people go without pay who are doing their job. Now, the proposal was made, and I just simply made a proposal that would pay everybody. And so the senator from Louisiana has objected to paying everyone. So I don't quite understand this. We could pay everyone. We could have paid everyone had he agreed to my motion. My motion was to pay everyone. Pay the soldiers. Pay the air traffic controllers. Pay the staff.
Please, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more breaking political coverage.